Hello, everyone. Today, we're diving into a fascinating list of 50 words that span a variety of topics, from everyday objects like chocolate and egg to abstract concepts like perspective and violence. We'll explore these words through a short story to understand their meanings in context. After that, I'll present each word with its definition and a few examples to help you fully grasp their uses. Let's jump in and see how these words come to life in our story. It was a wonderful day for a celebration. Just a week ago, Mr. Ahmed, a skilled chef from an Arab country, had finally fulfilled his dream of opening a new dining restaurant. The opening night was a success, but he wanted to convert it into something even more special. He had a unique perspective on food that combined elements from various cultures, and he decided to showcase this by hosting a drawing competition for children. The idea was to let them define what food meant to them through art. The event drew a large crowd, with kids carefully sketching their ideas on paper. Among them, a young boy named Alex created a drawing of an aircraft made entirely of chocolate and sugar, with an egg-shaped cabin. His drawing caught everyone's attention because it was so different. "This kid has a vivid imagination," Mr. Ahmed thought, as he watched Alex's work from a distance. He saw a counselor nearby and asked for an explanation of what might have inspired such creativity. The counselor explained that Alex loved anything that flew, and he frequently visited the local airport with his parents. Mr. Ahmed decided to offer Alex a special reward, a private dining experience at the restaurant, where he could choose any dish. Alex's eyes widened in delight at the offer, and he accepted it without hesitation. Meanwhile, the atmosphere was filled with excitement. Some people started a dialogue about the importance of nurturing creativity in children, while others discussed more serious topics, such as violence and how it affects young minds. The conversation soon shifted when someone shouted loudly, pointing to a stroke of bad weather visible through the restaurant's window. The sky had suddenly turned dark, and the wind began to speed up, making a loud whistling sound as it moved through the wires outside. Inside, the mood remained upbeat. A counselor asked Mr. Ahmed if he had enough funding to keep the restaurant going in such uncertain times. "I've acquired some significant support from local investors, but we must remain efficient in managing our resources," he replied. An elderly client sitting at a nearby table joined the conversation. She claimed that every effort needed a clear reference and that they should make an agreement on the priorities to focus on. "Without a clear definition of goals," she said, "it's easy to mislead anyone, even with good intentions." Mr. Ahmed nodded in agreement. "You are right. We must be careful with our plans and ensure that every decision we make is backed by solid evidence." At that moment, the power went out, splitting the room into two halves, one illuminated by emergency lights, the other in complete darkness. There was a brief pause, and then, in a sight both crazy and beautiful, everyone began to pull out their phones and use them as makeshift lamps. Even in darkness, Mr. Ahmed smiled, "We find a way to bring light." And with that, the celebration continued, filled with laughter, joy, and the wonderful promise of what was yet to come. 1. A large percentage of the audience was impressed by the new restaurant. Percentage: a portion or share expressed as a fraction of 100. Percentage: the amount, number, or rate of something in relation to a whole, usually shown as a number out of 100. 2. She admired the drawing that the child had created for the competition. Drawing: a picture or diagram made with a pencil, pen, or crayon rather than paint. Drawing: a representation or design created by making marks on a surface, often used in artistic contexts. 3. They came to an agreement on the new project. Agreement: a mutual understanding or arrangement between two or more parties. Agreement: a decision or arrangement made jointly by two or more people or groups, often formalized in writing. 4. He had an interesting perspective on cultural cuisine. Perspective: a particular attitude or way of viewing something. Perspective: the way a person sees or thinks about something, often shaped by their experiences or background. 5. She made a claim about the importance of creativity in education. Claim: an assertion that something is true or factual. Claim: a statement or declaration, often without evidence or proof, that something is the case. 6. The restaurant opened a week ago. Ago referring to a past time, earlier than the present. Ago, a point in time in the past, typically used to indicate how far back something happened. 7. The celebration continued despite the power outage. Celebration: a joyful gathering or event to mark a special occasion. Celebration: an event or activity designed to acknowledge and enjoy a significant moment, achievement, or festival. 8. He admired the stroke of creativity in the child's drawing. Stroke: a mark or movement made by a tool, such as a brush or pen. Stroke: an act of striking or hitting, or a line made by moving a tool, often in writing or drawing. 9. The chef used an egg to create a delicious dessert. Egg: an oval or round object laid by a female bird, fish, reptile, or invertebrate, containing a developing embryo. Egg: a common food item, typically from chickens, that is used in a wide variety of dishes and recipes. 10. He needed more funding to support the restaurant's growth. Funding: financial support for a project or organization. Funding: money provided, often by a government or organization, for a specific purpose, like a project or research. 11. They tried to define the concept of cultural cuisine. Defined: to explain or describe the meaning of a word or concept. Defined: to state or describe the nature, scope, or meaning of something clearly and precisely. 12. She provided a reference to a well-known cookbook. Reference: the action of mentioning or alluding to something. Reference: a source of information or a mention that supports or adds detail to a statement or argument. 13. The dialogue between the chef and the guests was lively. Dialogue: a conversation between two or more people. Dialogue: an exchange of ideas or opinions on a particular issue, especially in an attempt to reach an understanding. 14. The child drew an aircraft made of chocolate. Aircraft, a vehicle designed for air travel, such as an airplane or helicopter. Aircraft, a machine that is capable of flying in the air, including planes, helicopters, gliders, etc. 15. The chef prepared a special dish for the guests. Chef, a professional cook, typically the chief cook in a restaurant or hotel. Chef, someone who is skilled in cooking and often oversees the preparation of meals in restaurants or establishments. 16. He wanted to convert the space into a cultural hub. Convert, to change something into a different form or function. Convert, to transform or adapt something into a different state, use, or purpose. 17. He used a unique tool to create the sculpture. Tool, an instrument or device used to perform a specific task. Tool, a physical item, often handheld, that aids in accomplishing a job or function, like a hammer or software. 18. They felt a deep connection to the community. Connection, a relationship or link between people, objects, or ideas. Connection, an emotional bond or attachment between people or groups, or a link between concepts or things. 19. It was a wonderful experience for everyone involved. Wonderful, inspiring delight, pleasure, or admiration, extremely good. Wonderful, something exceptionally good, beautiful, or impressive that causes feelings of happiness or amazement. 20. They discussed how violence affects young minds. Violence, behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. Violence, any form of aggressive or harmful action or behavior, including verbal, emotional, or physical harm. 21. He handled the situation carefully to avoid any mistakes. Carefully, in a cautious way to avoid harm or errors. Carefully, with great attention to detail or consideration to ensure safety or accuracy. 22. The chef was a frequent visitor to the farmer's market. Frequent, occurring or done many times at short intervals. Frequent, happening often or repeatedly, usually within a short period of time. 23. They wanted to characterize the food with unique spices. Characterize, to describe the distinctive qualities or features of something. Characterize, to depict or define something by highlighting its key traits or attributes. 24. She wondered if anybody knew the recipe. Anybody, any person, anyone. Anybody refers to any individual person, without specifying who. 25. The cake was covered with rich, dark chocolate. Chocolate, a food product made from roasted and ground cacao seeds, often sweetened. Chocolate, a popular sweet or dessert made from cacao beans, typically in the form of bars, candies, or drinks. 26. She stayed by his side throughout the entire event. Side, a place or position next to something or someone. Side, one of the parts of an area or surface, often used to indicate location or position relative to something else. 27. A counselor provided guidance on the event. Counselor, a person trained to give advice or guidance on personal or psychological matters. Counselor, someone who helps people solve problems or offers advice in specific areas, such as law, therapy, or education. 28. He gave a detailed explanation of his plans. Explanation, a statement or account that makes something clear. Explanation, the process of clarifying or making something understandable by describing or defining it. 29. The defendant stood silently as the evidence was presented. Defendant, an individual, company, or institution sued or accused in a court of law. Defendant, a person or party against whom a legal action is brought in a court. 30. The speed of the wind increased rapidly. Speed, the rate at which someone or something moves or operates. Speed, how fast something is moving or the rate at which something happens or is done. 31. The loud noise startled everyone in the room. Loud, producing or capable of producing much noise, easily audible. Loud, having a high volume or intensity of sound, noisy. 32. The lawyer presented evidence to support his case. Evidence, information or signs indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. Evidence, anything that provides proof or support for a claim, including facts, documents, or testimony. 33. He had to shout to be heard over the crowd. Shout, to utter a loud call or cry, typically as an expression of a strong emotion. Shout, to speak very loudly, often because of anger, excitement, or a need to be heard over noise. 34. The restaurant was run in an efficient manner. Efficient, performing or functioning in the best possible manner with the least waste of time and effort. Efficient, capable of producing desired results without wasting materials, time, or energy. 35. The meeting was kept short due to time constraints. Short, measuring a small distance from end to end. Short, brief in time or duration, not long. 36. The opening ceremony was attended by many guests. Opening, the beginning or first part of an event, activity, or story. Opening, the initial act or introduction of an event, process, or activity. 37. The sight of the sunset was breathtaking. Sight, the ability to see, vision. Sight, the act of seeing something, a view or glimpse of something. 38. The wire was cut to prevent any electrical faults. Wire, a slender, flexible strand or rod of metal. Wire, a thin, flexible thread or rod of metal often used to conduct electricity or as a structural element. 39. The lawyer met with her client to discuss the case. Client, a person or organization using the services of a lawyer or other professional. Client, someone who receives services or advice from a professional, such as a lawyer, therapist, or consultant. 40. Blood is essential for transporting nutrients throughout the body. Blood, the red fluid circulating in the arteries and veins, carrying oxygen to and carbon dioxide from the tissues. Blood, a vital body fluid in humans and animals that delivers necessary substances, like nutrients and oxygen. 41. The chef was an Arab with a unique approach to fusion cuisine. Arab, relating to the people or culture of Arabia. Arab, pertaining to the Arabic-speaking population or countries in the Middle East and North Africa. 42. He aimed to acquire more funding for his business expansion. Acquire, to come into possession or control of something. Acquire, to gain or obtain something, like a skill, habit, or property, through effort or experience. 43. The advertisement was designed to mislead customers. Mislead, to cause someone to have a wrong idea or impression about something. Mislead, to deceive or provide false or incomplete information that leads to incorrect conclusions or beliefs. 44. She added sugar to the coffee to make it sweet. Sugar, a sweet substance obtained from sugar cane or sugar beet. Sugar, a common sweetener used in foods and drinks, made from processed plant sources like sugarcane or beet. 45. The plant looked dead after not being watered for weeks. Dead, no longer alive, lifeless. Dead, devoid of life, not alive, often referring to living beings or organic matter. 46. They decided to split the prize money evenly among the winners. Split, to divide or cause to divide into parts or groups. Split, to break or separate into parts, often in equal or smaller segments. 47. The chef made an offer of a free meal to the winning artist. Offer, to present or give something for someone to accept or reject. Offer, to propose or provide something, like help, a deal, or an opportunity, for someone to consider. 48. They enjoyed fine dining at the new restaurant. Dining, the activity of eating a meal, especially dinner, in a formal setting. Dining, the experience of eating, particularly in a social or formal context, often at a restaurant or special event. 49. The depth of his knowledge about spices was impressive. Depth, the distance from the top or surface to the bottom of something. Depth, the extent or complexity of understanding, insight, or feeling. 50. The party became crazy as the night went on. Crazy, mentally deranged, insane. Crazy, extremely enthusiastic, unpredictable, or unconventional, wild or exciting. These are the words we used. Acquire. Ego. Agreement. Aircraft. Anybody. Arab. Blood. Carefully. Celebration. Characterize. Chef. Chocolate. Claim. Client. Connection. Convert. Counselor. Crazy. Dead. Defendant. Define. Depth. Dialogue. Dining. Drawing. Efficient. Egg. Evidence. Explanation. Frequent. Funding. Loud. Mislead. Offer. Opening. Percentage. Perspective. Reference. Short. Shout. Side. Sight. Speed. Split. stroke, sugar, tool, violence, wire, wonderful.